Good morning. On behalf of the Independence Chamber of Commerce in the City of Independence, we want to welcome you all to First Friday. We have those that are joining us on Facebook Live have no idea that there are so many people in the room, so it's nice to see the room filling up again as we progress through the year. So before we hear from our three great speakers that we have lined up for you this morning, we always want to listen to a shout out from our business sponsor. And Dennis, I just want to say that we appreciate your generous support of our community. We appreciate your support of the Chamber of Commerce, and we're incredibly thankful for the medical care that you all have provided, not only at your hospital, but your clinic. And we're just incredibly appreciative of all that you've done. I know you're going to introduce your staff, but I want to say to all of you that are at the table, the doctors, the support staff, and the nurses, how much we appreciate all that you have done to help us navigate the pandemic, and to all nurses in the room that are working in our community, because it is National Nurses Appreciation, so we want to give a special shout out to them as well. So with that, I want to welcome to the podium to speak to all of us this morning, the CEO of Wilson Medical Center and the Independence Clinic, Dennis Shelby.
You took my thunder away. I was going to thank all the nurses too.
You just do it again.
All right.
They deserve double.
Yeah, double duty there. It's great to be here. It's great to be supportive of our chamber. I've realized on the drive over here today that I've been a member of 10 chambers in my career around the country. And I got to tell you, I've been in some good ones, and you guys are in my top 2 chambers that I've ever been a part of. And I've been in some nice cities like Fort Collins, Colorado. And this chamber, you need to be proud of the leadership that Lisa has provided. And great chamber, and we're glad to be a part of it. I do want to introduce my team, and I have a representation from the hospital and all 3 of our clinics. First of all, Francie Curry is our director of our clinics. Dr. Meyer is our director of medical director over the clinics, and also a provider in 2 of those clinics. And then Jonathan Rodriguez and Marty Long right here in Independence. Really glad to have them here. And also Haley Schulteis and Heather Boss are in our clinic over in Cherryvale. And Janice Reese, of course, who keeps us all in line and gave me a few things to say today. First thing is, this pandemic has put a lot of things on hold. And one of those things, believe it or not, is people have put their health care on hold. So it's time to catch up. If you've put things on hold, it's time to get back with your providers and get those things done. Things like annual checkups, mammography, all these different things that you've put on hold that maybe you don't think are urgent, but if you have a chronic condition or you have an issue that needs to be followed up on a regular basis, you need to do that. So be sure and do that. Also, it's safe. It's safe to come to our hospital. It's safe to come to our clinics. In fact, we received some funds from Sparks funds from Montgomery County, and we have this sterilization device that cleans our rooms in between patients. So we have that availability, and we still offer curbside if someone just, I just don't feel good going inside. So I want to make sure you know that. And I know sometimes people think that clinics just do just minor things and just primary care, but we do a lot more in our clinics. We deal with issues with adults and adolescents that have anxiety and depression, pediatric mental health issues, chronic illness, diabetes, cardiac issues, and sports medicine, to name a few. We also have some specialty programs that people would not think we provide. We have a very good program that deals with hormone replacement. And people don't realize how much hormones affect their health. And we have two providers, Haley Schulteis and Dr. Meyer, that provide that service. And you might want to talk to them after the meeting today. We also have hereditary screening for cancer at our Neodesha clinic. So that's something that we can offer. And those are specialties that you may have another provider, but they can come to our clinics to have that service and to go back to your regular provider. We also do lab and X-ray in our clinics. So we also have therapy services available. So with that, we'll be around after the meeting if you have any questions. Again, it's an honor to be a member of this chamber, and thank you for having us today.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. They're also the reason you guys have some snacks to take with you and some other things to put in your pockets when you leave. Grab that hand sanitizer and keep it close. I want to give you a few updates on what's happening. So if you want to grab your calendar, flip it to the May side, and we'll go through a few things real quick. I wanted to let you know that the Airstrip Attack that happened in April was a huge success. Last summer, we had about 50 drivers. We had over 160 drivers. Very few of those drivers went over 200 miles an hour. I actually don't remember, but somebody said someone did break 200. I was out there both days, and there were 19 cars that broke 200. One car in particular, an Orange Viper, every time it passed at 7 passes, went over 200 miles an hour. The world record holder, Lamborghini from Florida, who holds the record for 244, went at a headwind at 232 and wowed the crowd. And then there were probably 12 to 13 cars that went in the 190s. So very successful. If you go to Shift Sector or Kansas Airstrip Attack Facebook page, you're going to see a lot of coverage. So Independence, Kansas, it made the map. Where vloggers, bloggers, YouTubers, they were all there. Cameras were all over the place. So it was a really cool, fun time. They're going to be back, I believe, the summer of 2022. So going to pick a warmer time to come back. Love Independence Day was a huge success as well. That was on April the 24th. Go to the Love Independence Facebook page. Please go there, like that, and then scroll, and you'll see all the fun things that happened in our community as we embraced loving each other and being extra kind on that particular day. Chad Richenberger was in the office yesterday and told me that they had been working, to raise $25,000 for a canine dog, and they raised $28,000 for their canine dogs. They have already purchased one. We'll be purchasing a second one. The first one will be patrol and narcotics. The other one will be just narcotics. And so we hope that we'll be able to get Jeremy Hunsucker in front of you all again and give you an update on where they stand with that dog or those dogs and how that's working for them. Let me tell you that Little House on the Prairie is open for the season, so check out Little House on the Prairie if you're looking for something fun to do. The park and the zoo obviously are open. The rides are open Saturday, Sunday from 1 to 5, and then starting on the 27th, they'll be open on Thursday and Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday. So you'll be able to check out the hours for that on our Facebook page and on our website. All of the flyers with detailed information on our website, you can go check that out. Today is actually the last day to get to the museum for the Young Artist exhibit, so you'll want to check that out if that's something that interests you. You've got a few hours to get that done today between 10 and 4. And then mark your calendar on May 14th and the 20th. For the Indy 150, they're having some special speakers. So put a little pin mark by those and follow along the museum's Facebook page and watch for all of their events and exhibits that they have coming up. Also today, Friday and Saturday, the Women for Independence are having their Junk and Gems flea market out at the park at Riverside Park 4-H building. I think it opens up today at noon. And so I just encourage you to swing by there and make some purchases, donate to the cause, because those women give back to our community through their funds that they raise. They donate a lot of money back into our community to worthy causes, so we want to support them. The farmers market is underway. It opened up last Saturday. We had 17 vendors. It was very well attended. We've changed the hours a little bit from 7 to 11. We got some feedback at the fall market that the vendors wanted to get there a little bit earlier. So we're letting the market kind of run organically. We're letting the vendors open up the market. They kind of park where they want to park. There's no fee. All we need you to do is go to the Facebook page and fill out the form, and you're welcome to, and follow the rules, and you're welcome to be a vendor. So be sure and check that out. They had lots of fun things available, lots of great food, lots of great produce. We also changed the name to Independence Farmers and Makers Market because we have a lot of entrepreneurs that are showing their products and selling their products at the market. We want to give a shout out to Carolyn Torrance. If you're not friends with her on Facebook, I want you to know that she's recovering from some knee surgery right now, and it apparently looks painful from what she's posting. But we wish her well. She's volunteered at the market for, like, I think she told me over 10 years. And she's had some health issues that she's taken care of, and now she's getting knees repaired. And so she stepped away as volunteering, but we want to make sure that we tell her how much we've appreciated her leadership and guidance over the past years at the market and really making it what it is today. So shout out to her. Tomorrow, skip breakfast. You're going to hear all about a shout out for some breakfast opportunities from the Masonic Lodge later on. Monday, clear your calendar. You're going to hear a shout out about some bingo that you can participate in. Remember that on Tuesdays and Thursdays, you have opportunities to drop off all your junk and broken furniture and junk that you have at the house that you need to get rid of. And some recycling on Tuesdays. Our city makes this available to us completely free of charge in an effort to help beautify our community. So don't hold on to that stuff. Throw it in the back of a truck. Find a truck. Get it to the recycling station and get rid of it. Tuesdays, we have a few more food box distribution days, the 11th and the 25th, not on the 18th. So that's at 10:30 in the Park Oval. If you could benefit from fresh meat, produce, milk, they have gallons of milk that come with every box, or you know somebody who could and maybe they just can't get there, you're welcome to get in line. There's no income requirements. Everybody's welcome. Just line up and load up. And if my numbers add up, by the end of May, we probably will have distributed over 19,000 boxes to the community. So that's very significant, and we're very, very appreciative of that. Like the Indy Brewworks Facebook page, they have a lot of things happening. Trivia night, music night, beer, yoga, who knows what all they got going on. It's a fun, fun place, very family friendly, so check that out and put that on your calendar. Patio 210's right across the street, check that out. I had family in town last weekend. We went to Big Cheese, got food, went to Patio 210, and really enjoyed sunshine and the nice atmosphere. So that's just right across from the brewery at 210 on Main Street. So be sure and check that out. Main Street has worked hard to create that outdoor space for us. Dickey's Barbecue downtown has lots of good food all the time, but on Wednesdays they have great music too, so be sure and check that out. Starts around 6:30 to 9:30, I think, kind of blues and barbecue. And bike night, if you are into bikes, motorcycles, you'll want to check out the website on our Facebook, on our website, the flyer on our website. It talks about all of Montgomery County rollout for bike night and all their dates. And one of those dates coming up would be May 15th. They're going to be at the VFW. Just an opportunity to get out, ride those motorcycles, enjoy the sunshine, and dust those off as they've been in the garage for some past months. You're going to hear about a concert coming up at Stoney's Grub and Pub on the 16th. There's a shout out about that. I want to let all veterans know that on Thursday, May the 20th, from 9 to 3, you can go to the V and get help on filing your claims. That is something that they're offering up on the third Thursday of every month. On the 21st, Jim Hayward is here. I want to invite everybody to come to the unveiling of his beautiful piece of artwork right here in Memorial Hall in the Civic Center in the gallery area. It is commemorating Indy's 150th anniversary. It'll be from 5:30 to 7:30. And we're just very, very excited to finally have an opportunity to unveil that and thank Jim for his generosity to our community. Mark your calendar for May 28th. There's miniature golf, glow-in-the-dark golf. If you're looking for something fun to do in the evening, it's time to sign up for Bulldog Basketball Camp. So if you have kids, grandkids that want to sign up for basketball camp, you can call Coach Smith at the high school and get signed up. The camp is June the 1st through the 4th, and it's for 3rd graders through 12th graders. It's $30 a kid. If you have more than one child in the family, it's $15 extra per child. So that's something you'll want to get signed up for. And lastly, the Independence Historical Museum is having an online fundraiser. The bidding's going to start June the 8th through the 12th. They have about 200 to 400 auction items that you can view in the lobby of the museum. And before you freak out, they are not selling the prized possessions at the museum. They're staying. These are items that are unrestricted gifts that people have given to the museum. You know, people come into the chamber sometimes and they'll have something that they don't need or want anymore, and they want to donate it to the museum, so we send them over to the museum. But my goodness, the museum is busting at the walls. You know, they're full, and so they take all of those items because they sure don't want them to be destroyed or not taken care of, but they cannot house all these items. So these are unrestricted gifts that have been given to the museum. They've been in storage for many years, and we're going to have a little auction, and we're going to raise some much-needed funds, and we're going to get some much-needed storage space back. And so you go to Midwest Auctions, owned by George Isley, and you go to biddinghereonline.com, and you can get all signed up. And if you have questions, you can call the museum at 331-3515. Lots of other places to get information, so check out our Facebook page, check out our website, watch the newspaper for the calendar, take the calendar with you, listen to radio spots on KIND 94.9 on Friday afternoons. You can also listen to the calendar, the interview that we do in Coffeyville on the radio as well every Tuesday morning around 8:10. And if there's anything that we have forgotten that you want us to include or we've made a mistake, let me know, and we will get it added to the calendar or corrected on the calendar. So with that, we're going to start our first speaker of the morning. So really excited. I read the article in the newspaper that kind of gave an overview of what our police chief is going to explain in more detail this morning. But on one hand, I'm, well, not on one hand, I would say I'm thrilled that we only have one person to talk about this morning, the one person that we're honoring, that we don't have more that would fall into this category. So I'm very excited. I'm just, I don't even know what the right word is, but I'm glad that we're only talking about one person that we have lost in the line of duty that has served our community through the many years. And I can't express enough how much we appreciate our Independence Police Department and all that they do to protect and serve and keep us all safe. They have a thankless job, I'm sure. It's a dangerous job. They never know what life's going to bring them. And, you know, it's been a stressful time for them in our nation and all the things that are happening, but I couldn't tell you more how much I appreciate the Independence Police Department and all that they do. And please remember that May 15th is National Police Appreciation Week. So would you please show your appreciation for our Chief of Police, Jerry Harrison.
Supposed to keep a timer going here. I'm not texting. So first of all, I don't know how many people can see the artwork. All right, probably deserves an explanation. We had defensive tactics training this week, and one of our supervisors was the lucky guy that finally got to take a shot at the chief. So good on him. I'm proud of him. 24 years on the job, I can't match that one, so good for him. But today I'm here to talk to you about Charles C.A. McKinney. And Charles C.A. McKinney is, to my knowledge, the only police officer that's been lost in the line of duty in Independence. So when I first got here in 2016, I was contacted by an officer down tracking organization that reaches out to try to get that history. And they said, we have it that you lost this officer in the line of duty. We need to know the information about it. And I didn't have any to give. I checked around the department. Everybody knew about it. It was some kind of legend. Nobody knew if it was fact, and nobody knew any details. And I thought that's pretty tragic if it's true. So reached out to a local person and asked them for some help in the project, and they got with me about 6 weeks later and said, I can't find anything. So life happens, and you just get caught up in everything else, and you forget about it and move on. But I was sitting at home on quarantine in November, and Andy Taylor emailed me. I saw Andy. Andy Taylor emailed me, and he said, what do you know about this? And it was the article that we needed that probably should have been brought to light almost over 100 years ago. But Andy found the article when he was doing research on I believe he's working on a book, and he wanted me to have that, and he wanted me to look into it and check out the veracity of it and see what I could find out. So started doing some digging, got with Captain Lisa Helkenberg with the police department. She would be here today, but she had some more important things that she had to tend to. So she's not available right now, but we were really hoping to do this presentation together. She was a really big part of this project because she did all the genealogical work online. And so I reached out to Andy for some help because I found out real quick that I was in over my head. And he said, well, typically you're going to reach out to librarians for this kind of work. They're going to help you get in with vital statistics and all those other things. So I called the library, got working with Nancy Kishpaw, of course Lisa Helkenberg. Lisa used the genealogy. She tracked down a gentleman by the name of Billy McKinney down in Harris County, Texas, which that's where C.A. McKinney's from. And then, so we have a distant relative that got involved. This was our team that we built. And I called down to the Harris County, Texas library to recruit some help down there as well, and got to working with a lady by the name of Molly McGinty. And she told me that the McKinney name is actually, it's a really big family. It's a very historically known family in that area. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And then Lisa got with Sylvia Augustine, and Sylvia Augustine got with Jackie Lepley. They're with the museum here in town. And so this team of people, we started meeting virtually, I think it was early December. And the goal that we wanted to meet was we wanted to get C.A. McKinney's name on the Kansas Law Enforcement Memorial and the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial in 2021, but the catch is the deadline was December 31st. So we knew that was going to be a pretty big hill to climb, and we're 101 years after the fact trying to find this information. But the team right away got to work. All kinds of information started pouring in. We found some really interesting stories. I don't know why I set a timer because my clock timed out. So hopefully, dang it. Anyways, so this family has quite a history by any standard, by any time standards. He had a brother in it. There was three of them. There was a brother and a sister, and at one point they were all fostered by a family member. His dad was killed in a fight with a waiter outside of a restaurant. He served in the U.S. Army for a time, drove a trolley car in California. Some sources say he worked in the Texas prison system for 20 years. We have not been able to confirm that yet. He was from Crosby, Texas, which is an unincorporated town outside of Houston. And we think that the reason he ended up in Independence was there was another police officer here on IPD that was from Texas. And we wonder if he didn't come and visit that officer and he get interested in our community. He apparently met and married a lady by the name of Orpha Fry from here in town, and she's actually buried out here in Mount Hope Cemetery. It appears that he never had any children. However, Orpha had, I believe, a son and a daughter. At the time of his death, he was 43 years old and had been married to Orpha for not quite a year. They were married, I believe, in April of 1919, and he started with the IPD in August of 1919. He must have been a pretty good hand. He was well spoken of in all the newspaper articles, and when they did his background, they spoke highly of him in his background too. He was promoted to sergeant that fall, and interestingly, for some reason, he resigned. So he was promoted to sergeant in the fall of 1919, and in January of 1920, he resigned from the police department. However, probably a testament that he was a pretty good guy, he was rehired about 3 weeks before his death. So he started back with the police department in March of 1920. His nephew was killed in a car crash a short time after CA was murdered. And this one, his brother was quite a character. They didn't have social media back then, so what they did was they did all their smack talking in the newspaper, apparently. So I guess we're just never going to get away from it. But anyways, his brother would gamble on horse races and stuff, and his brother was a Texas lawman and had shot and killed a man. He was on duty, dispatched to a bar, or sent to a bar fight. The guy attacked him with a knife, and he shot and killed him. That was down in Texas. What's really interesting about his brother is that in 1937, his brother drove up to a local mortuary in Texas and killed himself and left a note saying he thought he'd saved the Undertaker a long drive. So I thought, that man has got to be quite a character. But we'll get to the shooting. So the best we can tell, it looks like C.A. McKinney was walking to City Hall to report for his shift. He was shot from behind and through the neck at about 11:30 p.m. on March 20th of 1920, or March 21st of 1920. Witnesses reporting hearing someone yell, "Wait a minute," and then a shot rang out. Witnesses saw the body fall and reported a tall, thin man and a short man running south from Main Street on 6th Street. The officer was shot in front of what was then the Cassigan Gas Company at 119 East Main. It's an unoccupied storefront right now. It's right next to the Great Plains Federal Credit Union, just down the block from the Main Street offices. Officer Hall was on duty. He was nearby on Penn, and he was the first one to the scene. He carried McKinney to City Hall, and they discovered he was paralyzed there. They took him to West Side Hospital. I don't know if anybody knows where West Side Hospital was, if it's the same place where the former hospital is or not. Yes? Okay. They took him to West Side Hospital where Dr. Kaufman and Dr. DeMott tended to him. McKinney was unable to make a statement, and witnesses said it was too dark to identify the suspects. He did gain consciousness at one point in the night, and the attendants told him not to move, and he said, "Why, I'm all right." And then at 8:15 in the morning, he died. So the investigation begins. There was a $300 reward immediately posted, which today would be about $4,000. So it seems kind of, we think about a reward in today's time for the death of a police officer. That seems kind of low. But our team members found an article out of Colorado Springs, interestingly enough. 4 bank robbers ended up shooting it out with some Colorado lawmen 2 were arrested, 1 wounded, and my math is wrong here. 2 were arrested, 1 was wounded, but the other 2 were killed. So we had 1 arrested unharmed, 1 arrested wounded, 2 killed in the shootout. One of the men was tall and extremely thin, and the other was short. The short one had a train ticket from Independence, Kansas, dated March 21st of 1920. J.T. Clark was that man's name. He was a wounded bank robber. He told the Colorado officers that if he were taken to a certain place, it would mean the end of the world for him, and then he clammed up on him and just wouldn't really talk to him anymore. The article described Clark as short and explains that Clark was known to have shot it out with police on at least 2 other occasions. On one occasion, he claimed to have charged 5 police officers in a shootout to get away. Charles Leitz was the bandit that was killed, one of the bandits that was killed in the shootout. Leitz was 6'1" and weighed 145 pounds. So we have some pretty strong circumstantial evidence that these are probably the 2 men that murdered C.A. McKinney. The article goes on to detail that the chief at the time complained that he could not go to Colorado to interview the suspect. I'm telling you right now, I'll pay for it myself. That is, I don't know what was happening at that time frame, and not to judge anybody, but we would not allow that to happen today, and our community wouldn't allow that to happen today. The case was never solved, and no one was ever brought to justice for the murder. McKinney's body was escorted by the mayor of Independence to Parsons, where his brother and widow escorted it to Houston. It is believed he is buried in an unmarked grave, along with over 100 other people, mostly kinfolk, in a Hollywood cemetery in the Houston area. One editorial complained that McKinney's funeral was never paid for because the city was not authorized to pay for it under state law. So just an interesting set of circumstances of the time. So in December of 2020, we gathered enough information that I was comfortable to put together a packet and send it to the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial and the Kansas Law Enforcement Memorial. The packet included 17 historical newspaper articles detailing evidence to support adding McKinney to the memorials. However, this presentation I'm not including near the detail that I could, but I don't know how many dozens of articles I have, and the articles keep coming in. They're trickling in now. So we found a tremendous amount of information, and I bet there was over 8 or 9 newspapers very near Independence in that time frame. It was really interesting to see how many newspapers in our region that were covering this story. In February, the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial notified us that McKinney will be added to the wall in 2021. In March, the Kansas Law Enforcement Officers Memorial notified us that he will be added to the Kansas Memorial in 2021. So there is some good news here. So the National Police Week begins Sunday, and during that week, there's a candlelight vigil and unveiling of the names that have been added to the wall. Unfortunately, due to the pandemic, they couldn't get the permits to have a mass gathering in D.C., so that has been moved to October. And then traditionally, each state has its ceremony the week before, so that law enforcement can go to the state ceremony and then go to the national ceremony. So Kansas will also be having their memorial in October, the week before. There is, however, a virtual vigil on Thursday, May the 13th at 7 p.m. If anybody's interested in it, you can learn more by searching out NLEOMF. That's the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund. So one thing I do want to cover is that the National Memorial is a not-for-profit. And I believe the Kansas Memorial is funded also by donations, from what I've understand. I can't say 100% on the Kansas one, but I do know that all the donations cover the additions and architect work and stuff that they do there. But I do know that the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial is a not-for-profit. And it costs about $1,000 to add an officer's name. So they asked for a voluntary $1,000 contribution from the agency. We are hoping to raise this money. So we're going to start taking donations for that $1,000. And if any money raised over that will go to travel expenses for Lisa and I to travel to D.C. in October to see his name unveiled. And anything after that will just go back to the Memorial Fund. So if anybody's interested, they can reach out to me, and I'll be happy to provide details so that they can donate. How about that? It does work. I'm not done yet. Sit down. So I'll be serving Thin Blue Line donuts in honor of National Police Week on Tuesday from 7 to 9 a.m. at Daylight Donuts. And Jason tells me that all the proceeds will go to the $1,000 donation, toward the $1,000 donation for the memorial. We also have a commitment to fund a memorial plaque for the police station. And I just want to say thank you to all the team members that help us rescue this story that for 101 years has been lost to history. So, and I also want to recognize Charles C.A. McKinney for making the ultimate sacrifice for our community.
Well, that was very informative and interesting, and I know that our community will step up and help you reach that goal of the $1,000 so that we can honor him both at the national level and the state level, and hopefully a lot of us can tune in through social media and be able to watch that as well. So we are ready for our second presenter. So she is a very familiar face to all of us, but she has a new venture that might be unfamiliar to some of you. She's here to talk to us about all of the programming that's going on, all the grant funding, all the loan opportunities that are still available for all of you to take part in and enroll in and participate in. She's also going to tell you a lot about the economic development that's going on in the community. But before she starts to speak, I'll have her come on up here because I want to give you something, Tricia. So you may or may not know, and she's going to elaborate on this, I think, at the end of her presentation, but Tricia is leaving us only for her job. She's not leaving physically. She's going to still be staying in Coffeyville in her home, but she will be working at the state, and I will let her tell you a little bit more about that in her presentation. But as you wrap up May and finish up your job with MAC, I want to give you a couple of things, very intentional things, Tricia. So one of my favorite places to shop is Annie Mae's Gifts and Goodies, and Little House Lane always has amazing creations there. So I picked up this coffee mug because I know Tricia loves coffee, and it has a heart on there with a sunflower. This is to congratulate her on her new job with the state of Kansas. So I want to give you that, Tricia. And then, because we do not want her to forget about us, I wanted to give her this small little block that she can put on her desk so that she always remembers how much we love her in Independence and how much we hope she continues to love us in Independence as she represents us at the state level. So I wanted to give her this and wish her well. So would you please welcome Tricia Purdon.
Okay, so I won't keep you in suspense. I was going to put this at the end of my presentation, but since she let the cat out of the bag, I'm just kidding, I'm kidding. So I, as Lisa said, I'm not leaving Montgomery County. I'm going to be setting up the new Office of Rural Prosperity for the state of Kansas, and Kansas Department of Commerce right here in Montgomery County will be the new headquarters of that office. And I will be serving as the new director for the Office of Rural Prosperity for the state of Kansas, Kansas Department of Commerce. So I'm really excited. I am super sad to leave Montgomery County Action Council, but really, as my SBDC partner in Pitt State reminded me, you went from being the Economic Development Director for one county, and now you've signed up to be the Economic Development Director for 98 counties. So I'm still going to be doing this job just on the next level. So I'll still be working with Lisa and all of you here in Independence as we work to further the efforts of rural development and rural economic development. I can talk about that in another day of all the stuff that I want to accomplish. But I'm really excited. My last day at Montgomery County Action Council is May 21st. And I'll be hitting the ground running that following Monday on May 24th, probably in Topeka that first day, but after that, I'll be based here in Montgomery County. So thank you so much, Lisa, and I appreciate it very much. So the real reason Lisa had me here was to talk about all the funding programs, which I think the last several times I've come to talk to you all about that. We definitely had some updates that happened yesterday, which I'll go over. So on our website, which is what you guys have pulled up right now, we have all of this listed. So if you need more information, you can go to actioncouncil.com and click on COVID relief, and it's listed under financial resources for businesses. But we have, I don't know, like 7 different tabs in COVID relief. So there's information for individuals, for businesses, for communities, any information you might need in regards to funding opportunities, programs, opportunities for training are also out there as well. So the first program that just went live is the Restaurant Revitalization Fund. This fund is meant to help your existing restaurants, but not just restaurants. So the list is kind of long. It covers food stands, food trucks, snack carts, caterers, bars, saloons, lounges, taverns, snack shacks, like the little ones that, you can get your popsicle and your popcorn down at the park or something, and breweries, wineries, things like that. So lots of different organizations that are around food or beverages. As long as 33% of your business is generated from food or beverages, you're eligible for this fund. So it will cover up to your total revenue loss due to the pandemic. So how they are going to do that, and we can use a business that opened in late 2019. If you opened in 2019 and you can show your revenue from that period until the pandemic hit, which according to the federal government is March 1st, although it didn't hit here really until mid-March, that is the amount that you would base that revenue on. So this is your average revenue for these months, and you saw your revenue for those same months in 2020 offset. That is the amount you're eligible for. So it's based on your average amount. If you were open, 2010, and you've been open forever, you're going to be basing that on your full 2019 financials. So it's a great program. Right now, it's only open to women, minorities, and disadvantaged businesses. That's going to be about 1 more week, and then it's going to open to everyone. So one thing I will say I'm really proud of, since I've been at MAC, and I know it's been before, but we've really pushed hard to get more women and minority business owners to open here in Independence and around Montgomery County. I know that I've reached out to 7 or 8 just since this fund opened up that said, hey, remember when I told you make sure you're 51% in this partnership with your spouse on this new business venture? This is why, because now you're eligible for these funds. So hopefully we gave a few people some legs up on this fund. There was a webinar that was on Wednesday that really goes into the detail of this fund with the Office of Rural Prosperity, Commerce, SBA, and the SBDC. You can find that webinar at covid.ks.gov/RRF. And that link is not on my website because it just went live today, but I'll post that today on our website. It's a very helpful webinar. I was able to listen in one ear with that one and SBDC with the other one on Wednesday, trying to make sure I got all the details. So the next fund that's been open for about 3 weeks, so it's into phase 2 of this fund, is the Shuttered Venue Operators Grant. This one, similar to the restaurants, will fund your revenue loss that you saw in 2019 to 2020 for 45% of that gross revenue. So it's a huge amount as well. This covers your live venues, your theatrical producers, live performing arts organizations, so our amazing theater, maybe out at ICC, would be eligible. Our museums that we have here in Independence, our motion picture theaters, which cracks me up that that's how they put that. Felt very old-timey, but our movie theaters are eligible. And talent representatives, so if we have anyone who's works with a live performing artist, and represents them in talent, they are also eligible for this fund. So I thought that was a nice inclusion. This one started a couple of weeks ago. It's into phase 2. So basically, it's going to hit those. It went in the tier of who's been hit the hardest. So the ones that have literally been shuttered, have not opened their doors since March 1st, still are not open. They got the first tier of benefits. And then the next tier is those that are at 90% loss, and then it's going to work its way down until they run out of funding. So I would go ahead, get in there. You can do a pre-application where it will determine where in those categories you're listed if you're one of those venues, and get that application in now. The next one I want to mention that is often not talked about, and I don't think I've ever even talked about before, is the employee retention tax credits. So for those of you that have a business that's open, you can get up to $28,000 in tax credits per employee. It's divided up by $7,000 per quarter, but if you retain these employees during the pandemic, you're eligible for these tax credits, and that's continuing on into 2021. So your existing business, if you have so many employees and you're able to keep them on, even if you didn't get PPP or EIDL, this is a great program to take advantage of. The next one, and this is the one that just happened yesterday, is PPP. It has run out of money. It's officially exhausted. However, there is a loophole. While there is funding still available, you can go through a CDFI or an I wrote it down. No, I didn't. CDFI, or it's an MDI, I think is what it is. But a CDFI is really what's applicable to Kansas. So the nearest CDFI, there's some up in Kansas City and there's some up in Wichita. The Southeast Kansas Regional Planning Commission would be a great organization to talk to about this fund, because they would have an opportunity to still possibly apply for this. Network Kansas, I believe, is also a CDFI. So if any of you missed the boat and they didn't get in PPP, which I know, Lisa, we had talked about yesterday, there is one more little loophole for those. It's supposed to be for rural communities, so you go through these CDFIs to get PPP. The last one I wanted to talk about is I did not read my notes well. The EIDL. So this one's interesting. So this one's been around since the very beginning, right, when the CARES Act passed back in May, June of last year. But they've increased EIDL. So before you could get 6 months of a grant to help fund your business. Portion of that's a loan, a portion of it's a grant. Now they've increased it to 24 months of operating instead of just 6 months of operating expenses. So now you can get up to $500,000 instead of just $150,000. So it's a significant increase. It also allowed, and this is something that a lot of people don't know, if you received an EIDL early on in this process, they also extended the deadline to start repayment until January 1st of 2022. So you have some more time before you have to start making those payments back to repay the portion of EIDL that was funded as a loan instead of a grant. So those of you that got an EIDL, it's a great program. I know several businesses, even some startups, that were able to get that fund. So the last one, which I really had hoped I would have the information by today. So there is going to be another pot of money. If many of you remember, I talked about last time, we called it Spark. And it came from the governor's office, and it was flow-through funding. The county got to then distribute among our hospitals, our educational institutions, our nonprofit businesses, and our cities. So this time, the city of Independence is going to get just shy of $2 million. Coffeyville is going to get $2 million, I think it's $2.1 million, and the county is going to get $6.17 million. In this flow-through money in the most recent bill that was just passed. So that funding, which is interesting, we don't really know exactly how we're supposed to use this money yet, other than we're going to get it. We know that it's supposed to, a primary focus, based on the governor's most recent press release, is that it needs to be focused on economic recovery for the long term in our communities, which includes supporting small and large business and industry, and supporting infrastructure developments like your water, sewer, broadband, programs that will allow for you to continually grow as a community and offer new economic benefits to your region. So that's about as high level as they could possibly have made it. So we still have a lot of brainstorming to do. So I would encourage you, if you have a thought of a way that could help our community get past this pandemic and grow in the long term, take advantage of this one-time, knock on wood, stimulus money that we can use to develop our county and make us competitive for the next 30, 40 years. And that's what I would encourage our county to do with this funding. So we're really excited about that. We're hoping that we'll get more information soon. So when I mentioned earlier, so we have some of the funding is already going to the City of Independence, some of it's already going to Coffeyville. So that leaves Caney and Cherryville, right, for funding left. The hospitals are getting, the schools are getting direct payments also. So we don't have to include them in that county funding either. So we're looking at business, at large scale projects, probably looking at healthcare support for our healthcare industries, and those sorts of things in order to get those things moving forward. So once I know, you'll know, because we'll probably put it out in the paper. They said that that's what's coming. Okay, I know I'm over time now. So the last little bit I will say is with the Office of Rural Prosperity, I'm really excited to start this venture. I will say that Lieutenant Governor Toland, when he recruited me to come and work for them at the state, I walked in the door and said, I'm 90-10, I'm not taking this job. And so having a long conversation with him about, well, here you're going to be able to have an economic development perspective for all of rural Kansas, which is my heart. I was born and raised in a tiny town in western Kansas and have lived in rural Kansas almost my entire life. And so now we'll get to make great change. I'll still be able to support MAC. I'll still be able to support our chambers, but have a lot more resources to make bigger change and long-term investments in our rural communities across the state of Kansas. So I'm excited. I know that we're going to be doing a lot of probably professional development and webinars and housing projects and all the fun stuff that we've been screaming from the rooftops for years that needs to be done in rural Kansas. So I'm excited to tackle that finally. So thank you all so much for letting me be your director of Montgomery County Action Council, and I look forward to serving you at ORP. Thank you.
Well, congratulations again. We're happy for you. And I think you're leaving us in good hands, right? Oh, yeah. So Jim Kelly is going to be the interim director for MAC, so we're thrilled about that as well. So we need a presidential line, though, for you, like the red phone, that you have, so we can keep calling you, asking you all of the questions that we have as things come up. It's time for our third speaker this evening, this morning. It's Friday. Can you tell I'm trying to get to 5 o'clock? So he's not probably a unfamiliar face on the campus of Independence Community College, but he might not be a familiar face to all of you, which is part of the reason why he's here this morning. But I want to introduce him in kind of a fun way. So Vince and I have 3 things in common. The first one would be that we are both big Pirate supporters. I graduated from Independence Community College, and I'm proud to be a Pirate. So is Vince. Vince is a Baker University graduate. My 2 daughters and son-in-law are Baker grads. So Vince got his master's from Baker, so go Wildcats. We both have a connection to Baker University. This is just my personal pet peeve, not Vince's, but it irritates me when people mispronounce people's names. So you can look at the spelling of Vince's name on the program and wonder how you say that. But anyway, I digress and tell you that, do you know Mark, who has Ironworks south of town? For years, I called him Mark Lehman. And one day, he didn't answer the phone when I called out there. I got his answering machine, and he says, "This is Mark Lehman." I couldn't even remember why I called him. I'm like, I've been saying his name wrong for 2 years. It's Lehman. And people I even hang around with, we all called him Lehman. So just FYI, it's Mark Lehman at Ironworks. So anyway, and another little fun fact, my daughter's getting married in July on the 18th, and her husband's-to-be's job was to organize the honeymoon. And she called me the other day, and she said, "Mom, guess what? Robbie told me we're going to go to Hawaii for our honeymoon." And I said, "That's awesome." She said, "Yeah, we're going to go to Maui." So at this time, would you please welcome to the podium Dr. Vincent Bowie, like Maui.
I'm too tall. Thank you, Lisa. And what she didn't tell me when she asked me to speak today was I was going to follow someone that gives free money and someone with a gun. So, great opportunity. I joke, but it's such an honor to be here as the president of Independence Community College. And overall, I just want to say how honored I am to be a part of this community and to represent our amazing people. If you are an employee of Independence Community College, can you raise your hand so people can see all of you here? I have such an amazing team I get to work with, and I just want to say thank you for all that you do. I also want to make a quick note that it would be my honor to cover the $1,000 that you need for honoring our fallen hero, and I challenge everyone else in the room to contribute as well to make sure that we are represented in DC. So I will make arrangements with you to cover that later today. It's my firm belief that Independence Community College can be a mirror for who we are as a community, but it can also be a maker of who we're meant to be. So often we don't get to view ourselves as a change agent within our own city and state. I've had the honor of living all over the world, and I've chosen to come back to Kansas. Kansas is home, Independence is home, and Independence Community College is the preferred education choice for all the people in Southeast Kansas. We want to be a partner in the success of our community and your success as a business owner. So please know that we're here, we're back. We want to be a part of your team and want to be part of this town. When I think about the role of Independence Community College as it enters into its next 100 years, and Independence as it enters its next 150, I think a lot about the Bible. And I grew up in a Catholic household, and I don't espouse any certain religious belief, but I think about Proverbs, which is something that I find personal solace in during hard times. And Proverbs 27:17 says, "As iron sharpens an iron, a friend sharpens a friend." So let ICC and Independence work together to sharpen each other to make this the best community it can possibly be. I'm proud of a lot of the accomplishments we've already put in place, and it's only been 1 month as the president, but I have such an amazing team. They're already raring to go to make sure this is an amazing opportunity for everyone. If you follow any of our news, you'll see that we recently won our Region 6 women's basketball tournament, and we have an amazing team and amazing coaches, and I continue to promise that we will bring more gold home to Independence. We've also launched a Veterans Center to help us honor more of our fallen heroes and more of the people that have served our country with distinction. We are committed to making sure that we are the preferred education choice to the people that serve and the families that help serve. We also launched esports, and if you're like me, I can play one video game, and that's about it. But if your child is a great video gamer, know that this is an opportunity for them to get scholarship dollars and to develop a curriculum that can turn video games into a lucrative career. If you don't know much about video games, esports is actually a billion-dollar industry, and while several colleges may have launched them before us, I am happy to say that we are going to defeat them in every way possible. So while I can only play Mario Kart, I cannot contribute in any way. I can recruit the best and brightest to help bring home the gold. I also want to say, I often, and I don't say this in jest, though you might take it, I compare the world to Independence. So you have your London, your Paris, and your Rome, and Independence all in the same caliber. And a lot of that caliber is because of our amazing fine arts program. With Larry and Paul, you can see that there's been so much activity in our community, whether you just went to the jazz concert, which was amazing, or you attended a Midsummer Night's Dream in the park. There is nothing that can compare to what our fine arts program can offer for our community and to our students who want to continue that education. We are so lucky to have them and so many other staff members in our community, not just at ICC, but also as a part of our vibrant talent that we bring to Independence. And ICC is committed to continue to growing those programs to make sure that we're the destination of choice, not just for students, but also for residents. And finally, I just want to challenge the city of Independence. As you enter your next 150th year, or your half century, century and a half, we're about to enter our next century as well. Let us renew our partnership to better our community, better our county, and better Southeast Kansas. We are the destination of choice for so many people. Let's continue to make sure that we continue to grow. I am so excited to be here for this opportunity. I'm so excited to be a part of this community, and I'm excited to get to know each and every one of you to work towards a better tomorrow. So thank you, and I appreciate all that you do. Thank you, sir.
Well, we're happy for you. We're excited for Independence Community College, and we look forward to lots of other good news that you're going to share. And thank you for your generosity to the Independence Police Department. Yes, absolutely.
Thank you for that commitment and that donation. And I just real quick want to also add that Dr. Meyer has also agreed to make a donation or committed to a donation of $1,000. So we've covered the donation to the National Law Enforcement Officer Memorial Fund, but we're still going to fundraise for travel expenses, and we still want to fundraise for a donation to the Kansas Law Enforcement Memorial Fund. So thank both of you.
Thank you very much. So with that, I want to thank our speakers. They all did a great job, as they always do. I want to thank our business sponsor, Wilson Medical Center and Independence Family Medicine, and again, extend my appreciation to all of you at the table for your commitment to keeping us all healthy during these trying times, and encourage everyone to get back on track with your health care. As they said, let's get those appointments made and stay healthy. I have some shout outs that we want to do. So I want to start. Let's go ahead and get them all lined up. Jenny Soper, Ryan, Tracy, and Larry, come on up, grab a microphone. I'm going to start off by saying it's Teacher Appreciation Week. So let's appreciate all of those educators that we have that are educating the future of our world. So we want to appreciate them, and Nurse Appreciation Week and Police Appreciation Week that is coming up. And I also want to thank TLC for their contribution to planting the trees with the Oak Street Tree Project. Please go out and see those beautiful trees that pave the way as we enter into our park and zoo. They made a significant investment to that project, and we're very, very appreciative of that. And I believe there might even be there's their logo, and there might even be a picture. Do we have a picture of the ribbon cutting? Okay, well, that's their logo, and we appreciate TLC. I also want to say, come on up, Jenny. Happy Mother's Day to everyone who is a mother. Sunday is Mother's Day, and we just want to give a shout out to all the moms in the room, and we hope you all have a great weekend. So, Jenny, you want to kick us off?
Sure. How you doing? Hi, I'm Jenny Soper, and I'm here to talk about bingo. Over at the VFW on Monday nights, they run a bingo game. It's silently upstairs, and it's super fun. They have an early bird session, and then at 7 o'clock they start the main session. And these are good. There are 2 blackouts, and last week, 2 weeks ago, I guess, we gave away $2,000 to the winner. And this week, there will be another $2,000 prize to be gotten. And there's also another one that will be $1,100 this week. It goes up every week. And it's fun. There's a snack bar, and it's just an amazing time. And I know they've been around a long time, but sometimes people forget. So come to bingo. I'm the caller. Yeah. So come to bingo, and I'll see you on Monday.
Thank you, Jenny.
Morning, everybody. I'm Ryan Collett. I'm the master of the Independence Masonic Lodge this year. This year is our 150th anniversary of the lodge, and last year was the 150th anniversary of the City of Independence. So it seems like one of the very first things that they did when they got...
Sorry. I was agreeing with
Bless
you.
you. Yeah. So one of the very first things that they did after founding the city was start a Masonic lodge. We're planning on having some celebrations in October, and in order to help fund a lot of that stuff, we're having breakfast the second Saturday of every month. So that's this Saturday from 7 to 11. Come out to the lodge, have breakfast. We're going to have pancakes, sausage, eggs, biscuits, and gravy, $5 suggested donation, and we'll do that. So I guess that's really all I've got.
Thank you.
Come see us.
Hi, I'm Tracy Connors, and hi, Janice. Some of you might know me from the dental field. I used to work for Cindy Sherwood, so I do see some individuals who were my patients. But I am now the new director out at Country Place Senior Living here in town. It's the newest assisted living. We are across the street from the Jefferson School. And with COVID, that's been, everybody's fun time. We have had a lot of changes now, so we are opening back up. And I would love for anyone to come out so that I can give you a tour of our building. And we are also going to be starting our community bingo back up for anyone that wants to come to the resident. And first one's gonna be June 10th, and it's gonna be at 10 o'clock in the morning. But again, give me a holler. Let me know if there's anything I can do for you. But again, just holler at me, and we will give you a tour of our building, and I would love to visit with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations on your new job. We promised to come play some bingo. It's all about bingo.
Good morning. My name is Dr. Larry Markevich. I teach music over at ICC. I just want to say thank you to everyone who came to the concert the other night. I thought that was one of those concerts where everything went right. We had a lot of fun, so thank you. It's also great to be here. Last month, I texted Lisa. I showed up the first Friday, a week late. So May is going much better than April. The reason why I'm on the mic right now is to just say that the ICC Jazz Band has really become a phenomenon. It's almost a pro-level band now with the people we have in it, along with our wonderful students. So we're going to play one more gig at Stoney's at their outdoor deck, so it's open air. Good food, good times on Sunday the 16th at 7 p.m. I know Sunday at 7 p.m. is kind of a weird time to play, but it keeps all the squares home. The real jazzers come out. So we hope you all can come out for our last gig of the year, and we'll see you this summer with Mid-Continent Band. Thank you.
Thank you. He's another one. Never look at the spelling of his last name. It's Markevich. Just remember that. Food for thought. There you go. All right. So with that little demonstration, I want to thank you all for coming to First Friday. We appreciate your attendance. We appreciate your support of the community. We appreciate your volunteer hours. We appreciate all of your financial contributions that you put forward to support all of the worthy causes and endeavors that we take on in Independence. And again, I wish everyone a happy Mother's Day. I want to thank our business sponsor again, Wilson Medical Center, our great sponsors. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you on June the 4th.